Hello, welcome to the Beyond the Questions podcast, because every great conversation starts with a question. We're having real conversations about life with life coaches, and we are anticipating another great episode. So get ready and let's get started.
Hello, and welcome back to Beyond the Questions, our podcast where our coaches come together for honest and unfiltered conversations. And who knows what we'll be talking about, usually transitions, life, reinvention, all things. So all those things. So, today, though, our topic is going to be one that I think a lot of people can relate to. And it's, how do you know when burnout has crossed a line from just having maybe a hard week to realizing something bigger needs to change? So I think that's a topic that I hear a lot in my practice. And I'm sure just in general conversation, a lot of us hear this talking about burnout these days. So we're going to dive into that. But I think before we do, we are missing one of our coaches, Jason Roten from Jason Roten Coaching. So he'll be back with us next time, hopefully. But
No, he won't be back with us
he's
next
not
time
the
either,
next
because
time.
he's
All
going to
right,
be
we're
on
gonna miss him for a
vacation
couple.
for a
So
long
we're gonna miss
time.
a lot of the quips that we usually get from Jason. So we'll have to carry on.
I'll try to
But
carry the
in the
torch.
meantime, why don't we talk about what we do? Erica, you want to kick us off and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. So, my mission is to support women who are experiencing relationship challenges or traumas or just simply life challenges, and to provide a safe space for them to walk through those things. And as a woman who has experienced that kind of trauma, I chose to educate myself and be able to provide that space to walk alongside them with some compassionate support.
Awesome.
She
All
does a
right,
great job,
TQ.
y'all. So just so y'all know, she does a great job. My name is TQ, and I run TQ Coaching Solutions. And my whole goal is to help those who have these dreams and aspirations, goals that they want to reach, but they're running into fear, self-doubt, and maybe some inaction. Want to help you bust through those and to take all of those to make sure that what you've dreamed becomes reality. So that's what I'm trying to do. And that's me at TQ Coaching Solutions.
Awesome. And then just a little bit about me. So I am founder of Purposeful Pivot, and I help midlife women that might have reached success in their lives. And now they're just at, an age where they're thinking, okay, I've hit that success, but now what? Because that's not as fulfilling anymore. So what do I do with my next chapter? And so I coach women through that and try to help you plan and figure out what you want to do with this next stage of life. So with that, thank you all for hearing about us. But I want to start with just an opening question for the team here. And just wondering, have any of you ever had a moment you realized where maybe it's the stress is just no longer stress or exhaustion, but maybe something deeper is happening? Like, I don't know if there's a moment in your life, or maybe if you've talked to a client that just really, they're stressed, they're burnout, but they're thinking it might be more than just the stress. Anyone can think of an example of that?
And when you smell smoke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Smell or see it? What if you can see it?
Yeah, that too. I wouldn't say that I've had any like major burnout moments, but there have been these times where I have felt a desperate need to recharge. Like where, and for me that, I'm run pretty tense in my shoulders. Like I love a good massage, like that does me well. Right. And so, but when I get to those moments where, man, I need to pause, I need to stop, because it's just kind of all coming around me. I feel it in my forearms and my neck and back, and I just get tensed up. And then also my brain doesn't want to shut off. That's the other thing. It's just, and I'm wanting to, I'm trying to stop. I'm trying to sit, and my brain just wants to go back to that, keep going, keep going, keep going. I'm like, unplug, so that would be one of my signs that things aren't going well, and I need to like step off the gas and, pause for a bit.
I think to define it for me, it's almost like it's when you're in the middle of all of these things, it's like this unrecognizable, right? I think it's just stress. I think it's just exhaustion, but then it just keeps going and going and going and going. And then finally, it's like just this realization, wait, I've been in this same pattern and I'm still exhausted. I'm still stressed. I'm still whatever you're calling it, X, Y, and Z. Something needs to change.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I think it's something that doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen overnight, right? It takes a long time to build. And oftentimes we kind of tamp down those feelings and just ignore them. But I remember for me specifically, it had been building for me, but I just thought, again, just like our whole topic today, I just thought, oh, it's normal stress, just whatever. And then I was at a company function, a party, and I was always one that would never miss the company party. And so, I was remember
Yeah, girl.
standing there. I had my glass of wine. It's, going to be a big night. There's hundreds of people here, very exciting. And I just remember I was standing outside. I put my glass down. I went back to my hotel room and I'm like, I'm done. Like it literally just hit me
Wow.
because it had been building for years and I didn't realize it. And then I'm like, okay, if Kelly's leaving a party, we know something's wrong. Number one. And so, yeah. And so that was my kind of aha moment, if you will, that it was bigger than just stress. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's what I mean, and I think one of the reasons burnout gets missed is because it's not always dramatic. It just comes upon you and it gradually kind of works its way. But I'm wondering if have we kind of normalized being stressed and burnout as a good thing? Like, do we
Yeah.
glamorize exhaustion in this culture because it just means you're working hard? And
Yeah.
other cultures I think take more time for themselves. Ours, I think we glamorize the more busy you are, the better it is. Right? And I just am curious if you've seen that in your lives.
I've definitely seen it. I think I saw it in my own personal life earlier
Mm,
on in my career and so forth. But just I think I think a lot of it had to do with, I grew up playing sports, running track, playing basketball, and there it's always 110%, go, 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 everything you got.
yeah.
And on top of that, I was a driven kid. Like, um, I have uh, if I can find it. I have a pin of my old self when I was in high school. I don't have it right now. I can't pull it up, but it's me in this basketball jersey as I was a senior, and I go back and I think about that kid, and I go, man, this kid, he would get up. This was after basketball. Well, this was kind of near the end of basketball scenes. He would get up, run about a mile to the gym that I went ahead and just got a membership of on my own. Go work out, come back, run back, get ready, go to school, go to track practice afterwards. There was a basketball period in there as well. Run hard. I look back at that kid and I go, who is that guy? My goodness. Some of that was just internal, and I think it was really good. But I also think some of that was the culture that was thrown on me. Like, man,
Mm,
you you don't leave anything. Everything's out there. And when you think everything's out there, you do more, you know? And that has kind of carried its way into, especially kind of early on in my career. But as you get a family and people start talking about work-life balance, and I'll even throw in there, as I was following the Lord, it just became clear that there's a point where it's very good to work and to work hard, but there's a
mhm.
point where you've got to stop. Like, you have to, or else the wheels fall off and everything just breaks up.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Anything come to mind, Erica?
I was really listening to TQ there, and what's coming to mind, if you don't mind, TQ, to ask you a follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
In that young TQ that was striving for all of these things, and there's good in there too, right? So how because I think this is in our culture, how would we help younger, like teen boys recognize these signs of like where the balance is of the burnout, because I can think of those things in my life too, right? Like I went and I was like on the go all of the time.
Hmm. Yeah.
So how does a young person recognize those things?
Yeah, I don't know if this is for everyone, but I'll just speak for my own personal journey. I think a lot of the push and the desire to achieve, do better came from the desire to convince myself that I was okay, which has been something that later on in life that I've been learning to throw off, that I don't need to achieve to prove that I'm okay. I'm okay. And then out of that, I achieve. And those are
Mm,
very different ways of looking at it. You can do some of the very same things, but internally, what's going on in your heart and mind and your psyche, one feels where you're like, when you know who you are and you're running out of that, that's invigorating. And the other is just absolutely draining because you're
yeah.
trying to attain something that you already are. And nothing out there that you're trying to grab for is going to ever fill that. And so, for me, learning the difference was the big deal. I still work hard. I still like to exert, but
Yeah.
hopefully most of the time, I can't say all the time, but most of the time it's coming from, okay, this is who I know that I am.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder why so many people do keep pushing long after they know something feels wrong. Like we know if we keep pushing, that's wrong, but yet we keep doing it. I just wonder if there's, why you think people keep doing it and keep pushing. I mean, especially now, like people talk about work-life balance and all of that, life balance more so now than I think they ever did before. But yet for some reason we all keep pushing the boundaries and sometimes sacrifice, parts of our lives that we shouldn't. And I'm just wondering if there's, you know, any insights onto why maybe people do that or why if you've seen that in your own lives and, how do we get away from doing that all the time?
There's values that clash, I think, some
Mm.
of the times. So, like you said, we know it's wrong, and I'm like, I'm not sure that we always know that it's wrong. We know that there's supposed to be this work-life balance because that's out there, that's been put out there. But what that can turn into is that just means I got to do all the things now. I need to be a good husband, right? And then I need to be good dad, and there for my kids all the time. And I got to make a wage, and we need to live in a house and be okay. On top of that, I throw my own stuff in there, and I want to be somewhat fit, and be healthy. So I got to do that. And then I got to be a good son to my parents. And so the next thing you know, it's this trying to do all the things
Mhm.
and it's still a striving, right? There's still this running
Yeah.
after trying to do all the things. And if I'm working and I'm trying to produce stuff for my family, get an income, make sure I'm paid, and I'm working really hard and I'm super tired there, that I'm supposed to do this too. And I'm going, the question then comes, how do I do both? And then what is enough? What's enough over here where I'm working? What's enough? Have I been with my kids enough? Have I cared for my wife enough? Have I done enough work? Right? And
Mhm.
it never seems like it's enough, especially in a rise and grind culture. Just go and get after it. And so I don't think it's always as easy as somebody going, well, this is right and that's wrong. I think it's
Mhm.
like it's all right.
Yeah.
And I got to figure out how to do it all. And I just, you find that, man, I don't have the capacity, and discerning what needs to be done at any given point can become very difficult to figure out.
Yeah. When you try to do it all, yeah, that's the downfall. We all try to do everything and we try to be perfect in everything, which is impossible. And I think that adds to the stress as well. So, yeah.
Kelly, your
Yep.
question, one of them was, what behaviors do we normalize,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
What came to me in behaviors is this: we all need coffee to get through the day, and caffeine, or whatever way you take your caffeine.
Easy, tread lightly here.
Oh, don't worry. I've had like a half a pot of coffee and an Alani already today. Okay, so like I'm speaking to myself. Yet in the normalcy of it, right? Like there's these coffee cups that are created and hats and shirts, and it's just like, oh, I run on coffee and this and that.
Mm.
Well, if I sit and reflect upon that, is that what I really need to be running off of? Like, I need to have this caffeine to live my life? Like, where am I creating space for rest?
Well,
Where am I creating space for being present with my friends, my spouse, my kids? And then this goes too, and it's okay. I like to, I can call myself out, and even if we don't tread lightly, it's all right. The other one that really is big is this mommy juice, and yeah, there, I've said it right. Wine. We need this wine to have a break from our life.
Right.
If we sit back and think about this, you guys are laughing because it's true and it kind of hits all of us.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily even have to be a break from our kids. It could be a break from spouse yet. So we're saying we need essentially a substance to void or block what we're facing, because what we've normalized is that's what we should do. Oh, well, we've just been going all day. And then, oh, well, we need this break. So I need this glass of wine to stop and relax. I have no toolbox, no nothing to know how to do it without wine. And then I wake up again and I drink my half a pound of coffee and then I go.
This could be an addiction podcast. I don't know. We might have to do that
Well, it is
for
not
another episode.
Right. But I get what you're saying, Erica. You're saying not that we can't drink those things or do those
No.
things, but the idea is that when it comes to I have to lean on this just to make it through the day, then you're right. There's an issue and it's an issue that we applaud.
Right.
Right. It's one that we like.
Yeah.
Yes, have your coffee. Yes, have your however much you need to, pass out and then get up the next day and be okay.
Yeah, and then be okay and go like high achieve, go keep doing these things.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, that took a turn I didn't expect, but this is all good.
I kind of like to throw those out there every once in a while.
Oh my gosh, too
But
funny.
it is, I think there are things out
is.
there that blind us to the fact that things aren't okay inside. And I
Yeah.
think that's what we're really getting at, whether
Yeah.
it's the rhetoric of just go till you can't, or you can go as long as you have your substance to, make it through the day, or even if it's not like your coffee or your wine, maybe it's who knows what else. Maybe it's, I don't know. I've got my collections of things that I want to do just to, not because I like to do it, but because I need to escape from this life that I'm living. And instead of that escapism, that these ways of escape, we've not called it that. We've just called it whatever we call it, our hobbies, or just what I like to do, my guilty pleasures, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. It's a way to avoid what's really happening, right? It's a way to avoid the stress or, what's really happening inside. And I think too, sometimes people assume burnout means weakness, right? Because we look at it as, if you get too burnt out and you can't handle it, that means you're weak. When really it's providing information. If your body's telling you you're burnt out and your mind's telling you you're burnt out, this is just really data, right? That you should be paying attention to so you can make maybe some decisions. But instead, we don't deal with it because we drink the mommy juice or whatever we're doing. And we don't have to face that. Maybe, it's time that we revisit something and look at our lives. So I'm wondering what role maybe identity plays in kind of staying in this pattern. Is it our own internal identity that we have to prove ourselves? Or is it, we're afraid to stop because if we stop, we'll fail? I'm just wondering if you have any ideas on what you think, or if identity plays in this whole scenario that keeps us pushing past kind of the breakout point.
I'm not sure how to say an identity to it. Well, what's coming to me when you say that is thinking about like myself transitioning even to single momhood, right? There
Mm-hmm.
are times when I am exhausted. Nobody else is going to do the laundry. Nobody else is going to wash the dishes.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to give this example because it was really great and eye opening for me. My son told me, and he told me one night, Mom, nobody's going to break in and steal the dirty dishes.
Hmm.
Aw.
And it was just this recognition. Not that it's good, not that it's not good. It's good to have those patterns, right? Like, I have
Yeah.
to wash the dishes, I have to
Take care of
do these
things.
things. Yet, if I'm so exhausted that day for whatever reason, I can go to bed because nobody's going to come in and steal them. It can be done later. And it's just that I think a lot of self-awareness is what we really have to do because there are roles and I think it's hard necessarily to put identities to them for me to put in words yet. Like there are roles that we do and these are good roles, yet sometimes we're taking it to other levels we don't need to, and that's when the burnout happens.
It's a mixed bag of things, Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you say identity. And when I was talking about younger me, identity was a piece of that.
Yeah.
Because somewhere in there, I'd been told that, you prove who you are. You find out who you are by how much you can do. Right.
Yeah.
Um, and so you do to find out who you are. And it's just, like I said, exhausting. And, you know, and then no one tells you when you found who you are.
Yeah.
No one tells you where the finish line is.
Yeah. Right.
You're like, oh, here I am. No one, because there is not one. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, there's identity, but then um, there's also like just the real thing of life of things have to get done, you know? So, if
Yeah.
I've got a well-paying job and the mortgage is easy, that's fine. But if I don't, and I'm doing it on my own, and I've got 3 jobs just to have a roof, and you're like, man,
Mm-hmm.
this is exhausting and burnout, and I feel like I'm closing in on burnout, but, I got to take care of my family. We need to have a place, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
some of it is just this is just real life, and whether it's for the season or whatever, this is where I am, and
Mm-hmm.
find my rest spots where I can. But I look at the people I love and those are around me, and I'm going, I know that I want to stop right now. And maybe I can for a few minutes, but if I'm going to give the people not extravagant stuff, I'm just talking about a place to sleep, then I got to get back up and go to work, And that is the very real place that many people find themselves. And so it's such a mixed bag of who am I, responsibilities, and then also discerning, because a lot of these things, like I said, are very important. You know, do I spend time here or do I spend time here? Do I do the dishes or do I do something else? You know, and
Yeah.
both are still good things. But you got to being able to discern, I think, is the real rub. That's where the real tension comes in. Cause then I'm like, okay, my yes to one thing is a no to everything else. And somewhere I've got to find a
Yeah.
way to be okay with that yes, whether it's a career thing where I'm like, I've been saying yes to this for however long, like you've been talking about, you're going along, and then you like, Kelly, you went,
Mhm.
that's it, party's over, time to do something new. Or it's, just in the everyday,
Yeah.
whether it's long term or short term, you still got to have that, be able to figure out how do I discern what's the next best thing,
Mhm.
and it's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. And I think sometimes you have to, I mean, sometimes it's just like you said, life, and you just get burnt out because of everything you have to do. And then sometimes, it's bigger than that. And maybe you've outgrown things and it is time to make a change or a pivot and a big life change.
Right.
And then because you can't stay where you are. or you'll
Mm-hmm.
just drive yourself crazy and everybody around you crazy, and you want to live a happy life. So, you need,
Right.
maybe it's more than just burnout and you have to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
But I think sometimes people get stuck in that and they're afraid to make a change, or they're afraid to slow down. And I'm just wondering, what keeps people stuck even though that maybe they're unhappy? Like, and it could be in anything. It could be your job, your marriage, your life, whatever. But sometimes people stay even though they're stuck when they know that maybe they should make a pivot. And you're smiling, Erica. I
Oh,
see your
I'm
brain
thinking,
going over there.
oh, my brain is going over here, Kelly.
Yep.
Absolutely. I
Yep.
mean, just to speak on that a little bit for right, there's comfort. It's comfy over here. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like this at all. And then that's where this internal struggle comes in. And then then we keep doing these things, and then the burnout happens
Mhm.
because it is hard to stop. And which, I mean, I was even thinking about you, Kelly, like in your story of, changing career paths. When people change careers, that is a hard decision, a very hard choice. You don't
Yep.
just, and like, right, it's all of this flow that we're talking about. You don't just wake up one day and be like, oh, yeah, well, I'm going to do this today. That's not really how it happens. It's this whole process that we go through, and then that's where it takes the work to kind of assess and realign and see where our values and beliefs are. And sometimes we do grow out of these things. And as TQ was talking, actually, it reminded me of a previous podcast, because he was talking about choice. When we say yes to one thing, that says no to other. And we've talked about this before, how that choice, right? Like, when was the last time that we really looked at our choices and what we're doing? And that's one way how we can align who we are in our daily lives too.
Mm-hmm. Dealing with those choices.
Yeah. And it's hard to kind of, if you do decide to make a change and say yes to something and no to another, when you kind of start down a new path, it's hard to rebuild the energy and the clarity and to start all over. So sometimes it is easier just to stay put because, like you said, Erica, it's comfortable. And, your brain goes to keeping you comfortable and safe. And so that's the
Absolutely.
default,
Yeah.
right? So you kind of have to push back on your brain's default scenario there and get out of that and really start to rebuild and do it purposefully, because
Yeah.
you want to make the right choices, like you said.
Right. There's some
So,
very real risk there. Like
yeah.
if I go back to that scenario of the person who has got all these jobs and is just trying to make ends meet,
Yep.
we can only go that hard for so long. So there is probably some change that needs to occur.
Yeah.
But when you're that spent and you're trying to figure out, okay, I've got this handful of things going on here. It'd be nice to do something new, but
Mhm.
if I try this, what do I risk? Do I risk this place where I'm living now to try this thing that I believe will work, I hope will
Yeah.
work, but what if it doesn't? Then I'm in a worse spot. Like
Yeah,
there's significant risk there
definitely.
to try to figure that out sometimes. And even if it's not that dramatic, there can be other kind of risks as well. But like we said, a yes to one thing is a no to another. And so if the no is something that you hold pretty dear, we got to find some way to go, okay, well, if I am burning out, the like legit burning, not just tired, burning out, then one, I can't keep this direction for much longer or it all
Mhm.
implodes.
Mhm.
So if that's the truth, then something's got to let go.
Right.
Oh, and it's everybody out there, it's scary.
Yeah.
Yes, it is scary for sure. But again, if I don't do something different and I'm burning out, then it's all going to come crashing down anyway. So at some
Yeah.
point you got to go, okay, I'm going to try something different,
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
that doesn't work, then I got to try something else different. But I'm going to keep trying so that I don't kill myself and everything around me running after something that's not going to work ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes you have to look at if the fear of staying the same is bigger than the fear of making that change and taking the risk, that's kind of like where maybe you should take the risk because it's more fearful and harmful to stay put than to make a shift. But yeah, you're right. There's definitely risk in any kind of you obviously have to go into these pivots and changes fully educated and doing your
Yeah.
research before you just do it.
Yeah.
So we're not saying go change your life and don't think it through. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Fine. I'm
for
gone. I'm doing something
yeah.
different right now.
Thanks
Bye.
for that. He left the room. Oh my gosh.
He gone.
Well, why don't we, for all our listeners and viewers, why don't you give one practical thing that someone could do this week? If they feel emotionally exhausted or disconnected, maybe one small thing that they could do to just kind of lighten their load for the week.
Does it have to be lighten their load or a practice to help their nervous system?
Oh, either. That's fine too.
And I think I've shared a couple things a few times before just about neurosomatic intelligence and just helping our nervous system. And it's in times when we're burning out and we're beyond, it's that check in with our nervous system. Because if we don't do that, it's hard to even think. So I'm not sure. I can't remember all of the tools that I have given before, but one that I will give today, and I think I may have, but maybe somebody needs to hear it again. Taking a towel or a rag, and here's my go Steelers,
What?
and you just take it, but it can't be your hand to rub your feet, and we forget where our feet take us because we're not even in connection. And people have done studies on this. You ask somebody that's walked up like a 4-step count into a thing, and they have no idea how many steps that they took to get into that building because they're not in connection with themselves. So a simple practice, and it could be done daily, is to take a rag and rub your feet and just notice, like, oh, this is my big toe. This is in between. This is the palm, the arc of my foot. And then sit it down and see if you notice anything. And then do it with the other one. It could be as short as 30 seconds.
What should they expect to really gain from that? What's their, just to
So
notice or just
within
to.
it is a big, there's so much more. So with one practice, this is a noticing of, like, just noticing your feet and thanking them for taking you and carrying you everywhere we
Mhm.
go.
Cool. Yeah. It makes you pause for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess if I was going to say one thing, I would say stop, hit the pause button, schedule it, I should say. That's probably what I would say. Schedule it and then hit the pause button. And then if you cannot hit the pause button, you need to ask the question, why?
Mm.
Why can't I hit the pause button? Okay. And then if you have a hard time answering the question, then you need to bring someone in who you trust, who knows you well, to help you get underneath that. Because if you can answer why you can't pause, then you're on your way to figuring out what's the reason for my burnout.
Yeah. Well said. You took some of the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, kind of sit and think about maybe on the Sunday night, if you get the Sunday scaries, because you have to start your week over again, to think about why you have them. Have you always had them?
Right.
What's new and causing them? And try to identify what's giving you that anxiety. And I think once you identify it, that's half the battle. It's not knowing, and you just keep stirring and stirring. But once you can kind of identify what's causing the anxiety and the exhaustion, then you can deal with it because you know what it is. So, well, thank you for that. So I know we're coming up to the end of our time. I think one of the biggest takeaways from our conversation here is that, burnout is not a sign that you're failing. It's data, right? It's
Right.
something needs attention. And so I think if you want to turn it into a positive, just know that the burnout's telling you something, and you should take the time, like you said, to pause and kind of figure out what it's trying to tell you. And you have to make some changes in your life. Could be very small changes. Doesn't have to be blowing up your life. Very small things to try to get you, back aligned. So keep that in mind. Hope this episode was helpful because I know a lot of people are struggling with burnout these days. So with that, thank you for joining us. Just want to remind you that Erica works with women that are going through trauma and transition, and trying to get through some of those hardships. And TQ deals with a lot of people that have some fear and self-doubt and beliefs and wanting to get them on the right path. I help women that are kind of been successful and now they're trying to figure out what to do after that success. We're just here for you. We definitely want to make sure that you spread the message and help us get the message out that we're here to help you. And if you enjoy our podcast, please share and comment. If you have topics you want us to cover, please submit them. And until next time, ask yourself some of the deeper questions that we're asking here. And we'll hope to see you on the next episode of Beyond the Questions. Thanks, everybody.
Y'all take care.
See you. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beyond the Questions. Be sure to subscribe so that you can stay up to date concerning future episodes. And if you would like to connect with any of the hosts on Beyond the Questions, their contact info is linked in the description below. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you on the next episode of Beyond the Questions.